Fuck you, you fair weather bitch. How dare you cross me?
In December 2017, the UFC makes history when it crowns its first ever women's flyweight champion, adding to the list of famous names who first held belts in their respective weight class. This is a breakdown of the fighters who first touched UFC gold, based on their fight skill, reign as champion, and the long-term impact made in establishing the division. Well, the I and C, and this is a countdown of the UFC's inaugural champions. Number 5. Dominick Cruz, bantamweight. When most MMA fans think of lower weight classes, they think of Dominick Cruz, a man whose unpredictable nature and all-action style has made him both a fan favourite and an MMA legend for years to come. After competing in promotions in Arizona, Cruz first entered the limelight competing in WEC, where a 5-fight winning streak saw him claim the bantamweight title after beating Brian Bowles in 2010. When the UFC purchased the WEC later that year, Cruz was signed to the promotion as part of the deal, formally crowned the first bantamweight champion after beating Scott Jorgensen at WEC 53. In his new surroundings, Cruz soon lived up to his promise, gathering a host of new fans with unique striking angles and agile footwork well ahead of his bantamweight rivals. Cruz's unorthodox methods saw him claim 2 career-defining wins, avenging his sole defeat to Uriah Faber before a dominant decision win over future flyweight champion Demetrius Johnson. With the win, Cruz looks set to cement his place atop the bantamweight division for years to come, until a torn ACL in 2011 started a chain of injuries that kept him out of the sport for 3 years. Although Cruz would regain the belt with a win over TJ Dillashaw, his first reign goes down as one of the sport's great what-ifs, one robbing us of the prime years of one of the bantamweight division's most influential figures. Number 4. Frank Shamrock, light heavyweight. For over 20 years, the light heavyweight division has given the UFC some of its all-time greatest fights, and many of the division's defining tropes can be found in the pioneering reign of Frank Shamrock. After 3 years competing in Japanese Pancrase, Shamrock made his UFC debut in December 97, when he took on Olympic gold medalist Kevin Jackson for the light heavyweight title. Having won the middleweight tournament at UFC 14, Jackson entered the match as a substantial favourite, only for Shamrock to upset the odds 16 seconds into the fight.
Then he felt Shamrock lacked stand-up fighting skills, but the alliance with Maurice Smith.
Let's go right down. Bring him.
Devastating
Bring him back.
knee. Oh, and there's a submission on Jackson already.
From then on, Shamrock never looked back, dominating his next 3 opponents with one of the first all-round styles seen in the sport, slamming Igor Vinoviev into retirement before claiming a knee bar win over submission expert Jeremy Horn. Shamrock's finest hour came in 1999, when he took on rising star Tito Ortiz in the main event of UFC 22. Ortiz had come off convincing wins over Jerry Bohlander and Guy Mezger, and with a 25-pound weight advantage was expected to make easy work of the champion. What followed was one of the greatest fights in UFC history, with Ortiz using superior strength to take Shamrock down throughout the first 3 rounds. But as the match wore on, Shamrock's versatility came to the fore, wearing down a tired Ortiz before finishing with strikes in the middle of the 4th round. A falling out with Dana White has meant Shamrock's legacy has been all but squashed by the UFC, but those who know recognise the Californian as one of the first legendary champions in MMA history. Number 3. Ronda Rousey, women's bantamweight. Whether you love her or hate her, Rowdy Ronda Rousey is one of MMA's most important figures, a woman whose 3-year reign as champion helped change the sport beyond all recognition. After winning bronze in judo at the Beijing Olympics, Rousey made her MMA debut in 2010, soon attracting admirers after winning her first 4 fights in under a minute. The run of form saw Rousey earn a shot at the Strikeforce bantamweight title, where she took on reigning champion Miesha Tate in only the 2nd women's fight to headline a televised event. A highly anticipated match will live up to all expectations, with both ladies enjoying spells of dominance before Rousey ended the fight in brutal fashion late in the 1st round.
Ronda Rousey extending the arm.
She's got to squeeze her knees a little bit.
Tate hanging on, desperately trying to survive.
Oh, she's going to break it. Oh.
It's over. Rousey has done it. 5 professional fights, 5 first-round armbar submissions.
The feedback surrounding the fight soon caught the eye of the UFC, making Rousey the first female signing and immediately crowning her the bantamweight champion at the UFC on Fox press conference. From that point on, the Californian never looked back, steamrolling her opposition with some of the most dominant streaks ever seen in the sport, with wins over Kat Zingano, Alexis Davis and Bethe Correia all being won under a collective minute. Rousey also played a big part in raising the sport's profile to new levels, appearing in Hollywood movies, chat shows and bringing some of the highest buy rates ever seen in the sport. Rousey is not just responsible for one weight class, she is responsible for women being part of the UFC altogether, and this, added with her dominance as champion, helps cement her place as one of the sport's all-time pioneers. Number 2. Jose Aldo, featherweight. Some fighters may have been more dominant, others more exciting, but no champion combined those traits better than Jose Aldo Jr., a man whose decade-long winning streak helped cement his place as one of the sport's all-time greats. After competing in Brazil with a 10-1 record, Aldo first came to prominence competing in WEC, winning his first 5 fights by knockout and claiming the company's featherweight title with a win over Mike Brown in 2009. Wins over Uriah Faber and Manny Gambirium helped cement Aldo's place as one of the top stars of WEC, and when the company was purchased by the UFC, Aldo was crowned the promotion's first featherweight champion.
Did you ever think that you would get the UFC belt in a ceremony inside an empty arena like that, just in front of a few media members? Kind of a different situation than some of the other champions have had.
Não, acho que eu esperava ganhar lutando, né, lá em cima, mas
I thought I would win the belt by fighting, but it's such an honor for Dana to present me with this belt today, and it's a dream come true.
Despite his new surroundings, Aldo showed no signs of abating his dominance, stretching his winning streak to 18 matches against some of the sport's greatest names. Frankie Edgar, Chad Mendes and Chan Song Jong all had no answer to the Brazilian, as Aldo continued his reign with some of the highest level striking seen in an octagon. By 2015, Aldo was unbeaten for 10 years and widely considered the greatest fighter in the world, only taking a moment of magic to finally end his reign as champion.
Calm and relaxed and smiling. Oh! She slipped it! Is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world! Oh, unbelievable!
And at number 1, Demetrius Johnson, flyweight. The only champion still holding his belt, Demetrius Johnson has been the benchmark of lower weight fighters for over half a decade, earning Mighty Mouse recognition as one of the best all-rounders ever seen in sport. Johnson's MMA career began not at 125, but rather as a prominent bantamweight, going 14-1 over 4 years, culminating in a title shot against Dominick Cruz at UFC on Versus. In 2012, Johnson competed at a 4-man tournament to crown the UFC's first flyweight champion, and after a controversial win over Ian McCall, took on Texas Joe Benavidez in the co-main of UFC 152. Benavidez started the fight stronger, troubling Johnson with solid strikes during the early rounds, before Mighty Mouse's fresher legs saw him score a series of takedowns as the fight drew to a close, ultimately snatching the 125 crown by split decision. Although his title win was less than stellar, Johnson soon turned to answering his critics, dominating the new weight class with some of the most comprehensive performances ever seen in an octagon, out-grappling Olympic medalist Henry Cejudo and submission wins over Chris Carriazo, Wilson Reis and Kiyoshi Horiguchi. Johnson's dominance in the division soon led him to make UFC history, when victory over Ray Borg at UFC 216 saw him claim an 11th straight defense, breaking the all-time company record set by Anderson Silva in 2013.
How many guys would just lay there? Oh, whoa! Right into an armbar! Phenomenal!
Borg refusing. Oh, there it is! Demetrius Johnson!
Who's better? Who's better? Who's better? Who's better? Nobody!
Johnson's achievements never attracted the mainstream, but those in the know respect him as one of the sport's all-time greats, one expected to remain at the top of the flyweight division for many years to come. Well, that's our opinion, but what about yourself? Who do you consider the greatest inaugural champion in UFC history? Be sure to post your comments, like this video, and stay tuned to this channel. This is the INC, and thank you for watching.